फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ये लेक्चर अपन बेसिकली 3 मोड में कर सकते हैं, ठीक है? ये शायद आई डोंट नो पहले मैंने आपको बोला है कि नहीं बोला। वी कैन डू दिस इन 3 मोड्स, ठीक है? पहला है प्रवचन मोड, ठीक है? दूसरा है ट्यूशन मोड और तीसरा है लेक्चर मोड। ओके। Sufficient number of people want that we should proceed with the lecture mode. तो उसके लिए it is very very required कि I will definitely give enough pauses in between for you to respond. But when there is such a pause, do not miss that opportunity. Take it as an opportunity to speak. ठीक है? Eventually जब अपन communication skill पढ़ेंगे तो I will be teaching you about a few things that how and why it is important to grab such opportunities to speak. But for now, just take it from me. Whenever there is a pause, whenever there is a question that is intended to be answered from you, take it as an opportunity and speak up. ठीक है? सही गलत अच्छा बुरा उसको नहीं सोचना है, जस्ट बोल देना. ठीक है? Fine. With that, let's start the class now. Okay. So in the last class, we had studied that there are 3 major components to this particular subject. The first is professional practice, second is cyber laws, and third one is ethics. But as per the continuum of our syllabus in terms of the units that are there, the first we'll be focusing on is ethics and professional practice, and moreover we'll be focusing more on ethical part first, and then we'll proceed on to the practicalities of professional practice, and then at the last we'll be studying cyber laws. Okay. So in this first part we'll be mainly focusing on what professionalism is and what are the things to be taken care of when you are acting as a professional. So now with that, let's move ahead. So first is the definition of professionalism. Thank you. So what is professionalism? At first, what we need to understand is what is all this is about. The definition as per Merriam-Webster dictionary is that the conduct, aims or qualities that characterize or mark a profession or a professional person. And how the profession is defined? It is defined as a calling requiring special knowledge and often long and intensive academic preparation. Basically कहने का मतलब ये है कि a profession is something that requires a lot of preparation from you on the first end, and thereafter based on that preference you gain some knowledge, and when you apply that knowledge to do something, that is a profession. Okay. And as a profession or as a professional person, what are the characteristics, what are the qualities, what are the responsibilities that are uh, required from a professional person, from a person involved in a profession? That is what is professionalism. Or in easy words, professionalism enables you to do your job. That's it. आप जो भी कर रहे हैं, whatever you are wanting to do, whatever you are trying to achieve in your life, it helps you do that. Okay. More comprehensively, professionalism is the combination of general and specific expectations of all the stakeholders. दूसरे शब्दों में कहें, when we are not talking about ourselves, professionalism is more about fulfilling the expectations of everyone that is involved with us. Let's say as a professional person, you have the employer who has given you the job, you have colleagues who are working with you, you have clients who are paying for your salary, you have end users which will be eventually be the users of your system or whatever the product you have designed. For example, in case of let's say an overbridge, the client may be, let's say, the government. Okay, the government has given you a contract to build an overbridge, but the end user is the general public. So that is the differentiation here between clients and end users. Okay, so what we mean by professionalism is that we are trying to fulfill the expectations of all the people associated with our profession. Okay. And specifically what we are looking forward to with respect to the conduct, attitude and knowledge of an individual within a specific workplace. ठीक है, तो अपने को मेनली 3 चीजों पे ध्यान देना है. आर कंडक्ट, कैसे अपन रहते हैं, व्हाट आर वी ट्राइंग टू डू, व्हाट वी डू, हाउ वी डू एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट. सेकंड इज एटीट्यूड. एटीट्यूड इज हाउ वी think or maybe how we behave with others based on what we know, how we are. Based on that, how others perceive us. That is what we mean when we say the word attitude. And the third is knowledge. तो इन 3 चीज़ों को अपन कैसे मैनेज करते हैं टू फुलफिल द एक्सपेक्टेशन ऑफ अदर्स अराउंड अस, So that is professionalism. Again, it provides a foundation for effective workplace performance and career growth. And there could be different expectations and benchmarks for different professions and workplaces. यानी कि अलग अलग प्रोफेशंस और अलग अलग कंपनीज में अलग अलग कल्चर्स में प्रोफेशनलिज्म की डेफिनेशन थोड़ी सी अलग हो सकती है, but ultimately it all depends upon the expectations and benchmarks that are required from you. फॉर एग्जाम्पल लेट्स से अगर आप एक स्टार्टअप में काम करते हैं, तो देयर यू कैन लाइक वियर एनीथिंग यू वांट, बट you are expected to like work over hours and do not ask for any extra payment for that. But when you move into, let's say, in multinational corporate organization, where you are required to, let's say, wear a uniform or formal wear at all times. However, whenever you will have to like work overtime, they will be paying you extra. So depending upon different professions, different workplaces, they can have different expectations from you. So the again professionalism, in professionalism, what matters is that you should always be aware about what are these expectations from you. Okay, and until unless you are not aware about these expectations, whatever you do, you may not be able to achieve the professionalism to its max. Okay. And again it depends upon many factors including role, industry, organization, culture, etc. तो जैसे मैंने एक एग्जांपल दिया आपको ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का, whether the organization is a multinational corporate or a startup. सिमिलरली क्या हो सकता है कि ये मैटर कर सकता है आपके रोल पे. फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से इफ यू आर अ मैनेजर, यू देयर विल बी डिफरेंट एक्सपेक्टेशंस फॉर यू. But let's say if you are, let's say, a network engineer somewhere, that expectations will be different. As a manager, you are required to represent the company, let's say before the client, before the board of the company, and like shareholders and so on. But as a network engineer, you are not required to represent anyone anywhere, but you are meant to ensure that the company's network is up and running at all times. So depending upon role, the expectations could be different. And similarly, within industry, let's say when we talk about the in the context of industry, let's say if you are into the software development industry, the expectations will be different. But let's say if you are into the business process outsourcing, what we call as BPO, if there is a BPO industry, the expectations will be different. So based on different industries, these expectations are different from each other. So basically, professionalism matters on a lot of factors. Okay. So we also need to take care of the current situation, the current surroundings, where we are, what is expected from us. That is how we can ensure that we are always demonstrating a good professionalist behavior. So this is like a slight breakup of what to be included in different types of characteristics required from a professional. So under the three headings, the first is conduct, other is attitude, and the third one is knowledge. So under conduct, what are the different expectations from you? The expectations related to attire, what you wear. Second is your etiquette, how you do things, the way you do them. The third is communication skills, how good you are at communication. Fourth is honesty and integrity, and the fifth one is punctuality. So these are all related to your conduct, that how you do things. Second is attitude. Attitude is how you feel about doing things. So first is competence. लाइक से फॉर एग्जांपल देयर इज वन पर्सन, उसको जब भी कुछ काम बोले वो बोलता है कि दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई डोंट नो, दिस इज आई कैन नॉट डू. एंड देयर इज अनदर पर्सन हु इज ऑलवेज ट्राइंग टू कीप अप, लाइक जो हमेशा समय से थोड़ा आगे चलता है. उसको लगता है कि ठीक है अभी नेक्स्ट मुझे इस चीज की जरूरत पड़ेगी, तो दैट पर्सन विल स्टडी दैट beforehand, learn that beforehand, practice that beforehand, and he is always ready to take up any challenge that comes towards him. So this is how what competence is mainly. Secondly is accountability. Accountability for the work you do, जिम्मेदारी लेना, that is accountability. Third is emotional intelligence, how you behave with the people around you, how you behave with the feelings within yourself. So for example, let's say if you are talking to a client and a client says you asks from you to do something that is not possible as per the budget of the project, it is not okay to start crying over there. ठीक है, क्लाइंट के सामने रोने से कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. तो दैट इज व्हाट वी, so these are the issues that are related to emotional intelligence, how to behave with people, how to be content within yourself, how to behave maturely. So that is where what emotional intelligence is all about. Fourth one is diversity and inclusion. So what do you think about different types of people in your organization? Let's say, how what are your views on gender diversification, or let's say what is your view about digital divide. Let's say if you have, let's say, someone in your company who doesn't know how to use a smartphone, would you fire that person, or would you accept that it is okay, his job does not require him to use a smartphone, then it is okay, I can go ahead with that. So these are different diversities are there, different types of people are there because of their limitations or because of their additional, uh, like say, characteristics or their good things. How do you include all of them within your professional goals? How to in the achievement of your professional goals? Okay, so that is what diversity is. And finally, ethics and morality. So how good a person you are, or how reliable you are when it comes to the fulfillment of your professional duties. So this is all attitude is about. Then we come to knowledge. So in knowledge, first is domain knowledge. For example, if you're going to be a software engineer, you should know about how to write a program, how to write a software, what are the different aspects of software engineering, how to design, implement, and maintain a software, and so on. So that is what domain knowledge is all about. Secondly, you should have some information into the market. So what is the market working like now? So what are different types of softwares available in the market? What are the different types of tools? What are different programming languages? Or let's say what your competitors are doing, what kind of software products your competitors are working on, what are the upcoming opportunities. So let's say you are working on a project, but soon there will be like something is coming into the market that will make your project obsolete. So how to keep up with that? So a lot of market knowledge is also required when you are working as a professional. Third one is specialization. Although the domain knowledge is about having a knowledge about all different aspects of your domain, specialization is specializing in one or two particular subdomains of your particular profession, so that you can provide more insights into that and give quality inputs in like the development of products or offering of services. The fourth one is industry and insights. You should have some insightful information into the industry. So, how your industry works, what are the major like players of your industry, what are the different government like regulations and laws that can impact your industry, what are the different decisions currently being made by the government or the international bodies that can affect your industry, and so on. You should also have some information about the industry at large. So the market and industry here can be varied as, let's say, for market, if you're working on, let's say, developing a video conferencing solution, let's say something like MS Teams or Google Meet, then the market is only about the software that are related to these, related to video conferencing solution. But when we talk about industry, we talk about the software industry at large, let's say, or let's say the service-based software industry at large. So the industry is very much bigger than the market itself only. And finally, the standards involved. What are the different industrial standards, global standards on the products that we are working on the services we are offering, and what are the national and international laws that could affect that. So in this particular subject, we'll be focusing on these few key terms here. From the conduct, we'll be focusing on etiquette and communication skills. We'll be studying that in the third unit. On the attitude part, we'll be focusing on diversities and inclusion and ethics and morality. And on the knowledge part, we'll be mainly focusing on industry and insight and standards and laws. Okay, this specifically in the knowledge part, the domain knowledge thing, you will be learning through this complete engineering study, the rest of your 3 years. Uh, this particular subject will try to give you only some insights into about the software industry, about the various standards that are there, about the laws that affect the software industry. So we'll again not go into the very details of it, because that is like a different field of study at all. So we'll be just touching upon the main crust of okay. But in all these cases, remember that context matters. for all these things, what we'll be doing, we'll be doing them, we'll be studying them in the context of software as a profession, software development as a profession in general. Okay, so for different industries, as we discussed, for different scenarios, for different industries, for different cultures, these things could vary, but we'll try to ensure that either we are talking about things that are general for all different contexts, or when we'll talk about any specific things, then those specific things will be only about software engineering or the software industry. Okay, anybody wants to say anything up to this point? Go ahead, unmute that
No,
mic.
sir. No, sir.
Okay, no problem. Let's continue. So this was all about professionalism, but before moving on, let's first discuss about what are the expectations from a freshly graduated engineer from India. So, as a part of this international accord that a lot of countries have signed together, what they have done that they have published these graduate attributes. So, what are the attributes of a graduate that passes out from that particular country? So, these are attributes that we'll be discussing that are for the engineering graduates from India. So, these attributes have been finalized and published by the National Board of Accreditation. And this is what the government of India promises to the whole world, that any engineer that has done engineering from their country is expected to perform. These are all the parameters where an engineer from India will perform. Okay, so the first point is engineering knowledge. So the student who has completed engineering from India will be able to apply the knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, and an engineering specialization for the solution of complex engineering problems. So you should be able to apply the knowledge of these different domains for engineering problems. Okay, so that is the first expectation from you. The second expectation is that you will be do problem analysis. So what is problem analysis? To identify, formulate, research literature, and analyze complex engineering problems, reaching substantiated conclusions using first principles of mathematics, natural sciences, and engineering science. Okay, so problem analysis here is although you can apply the knowledge you have gained, but given a fairly complex engineering problem, you should be able to do all these things. The first is to identify the problem. You should be able to identify what the problem is, and secondly is to formulate a solution for that. Formulate a process, maybe a process that how you will tackle upon that problem, or how that problem can be mitigated. Okay, the third point is research literature. So you will be able to find out a lot of literature, already published material related to that problem. Do research on that, and possibly revise your designs or revise your formulation to solve that problem. And finally, at the end, when you have that problem in your hand, have the solution in your hand, you will be able to analyze the solution and try to optimize, or maybe let's say propose a better solution based on your analysis. And all this you will be doing through applying the principles of mathematics, natural sciences, and engineering sciences. So this is the second expectation from you as an engineer from India. Okay, so the third expectation is design and development of solutions. So this is about designing solutions for complex engineering problems, and design system components or processes that meet the specified needs with appropriate consideration for public health and safety, and cultural, societal, and environmental consideration. So here the point is कि okay, now you can apply the knowledge you have gained to solve complex engineering problems, but now the problem is not only about solving that for the one instance. For example, let's say आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम बोली जाती है, लेट्स से समवन टोल्ड यू कि दिस पर्टिकुलर, लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे फ़ोन में आवाज़ कम आती है, लेट्स से व्हेन आई एम टॉकिंग टू समवन देयर इज़ लाइक दिस डिस्टॉर्शन समवेयर और द वॉइस इज़ वेरी लो. So let's say you use your engineering knowledge, you use your problem analysis skills and solve the problem for that particular person. But is that okay? No, that is not okay. You should be able to design solutions that are not only like ad hoc solutions. जुगाड़ नहीं होना चाहिए. They should be designed as system components or processes to ensure that the problem is solved for the larger good. Okay, and while doing that, you should be able to ensure public health and safety. So you should not develop systems that hamper the health and safety of the general public, or and also as well as you should be able to take care of the cultural, societal, and environmental considerations while developing such solutions. Okay, so this is the third expectation from a graduate from India. The fourth one is conduct investigations of complex problems. Okay, so now the problems here, by the complex problems, what we mean is the problems that cannot be solved by straightforward application of knowledge, theories and techniques applicable to the engineering discipline, जो कि straightforward नहीं होती. तो इसको हमने secondly that may not have a unique solution. तो कुछ ऐसी problems जिनका unique solution ना हो, ठीक है, तो हो सकता है आपके you may have multiple solutions for that, and you will have to optimize the best solution for the given situation. The third one is that require consideration of appropriate constraints requirements, not explicitly given in the problem statement. For example, आपको बोला कि दो फोन के बीच में जब बात करते हैं तो डिस्टॉर्शन आता है. तो आपको सिर्फ डिस्टॉर्शन के बारे में नहीं सोचना है, आपको ये भी सोचना है कि देर इज कॉस्ट एसोसिएटेड टू दैट, देर इज पावर रिक्वायरमेंट, देर इज ड्यूरेबिलिटी रिक्वायरमेंट, देर इज प्रोडक्ट लाइफ एंड all these things. Okay, so you also need to take care of a lot of such other parameters while working on such complex problems. And the fourth one is which needs to be defined model within appropriate mathematical framework. So these there are certain problems that will require you to model them in a mathematical framework, so they can also be the complex problems. And finally, that often require use of modern computational concepts and tools. तो हो सकता है not all problems can be done through a manual approach. You may have to go for some computational approach for that, and you should be ready for that. Okay, so this is the fourth expectation from you, which is the conduct investigations of complex problems, and this is the definition of what a complex problem could be. Moving on, the further expectations are that you should be able to use modern tools. So, to create, select, and apply appropriate techniques, resources, and modern engineering and IT tools, including prediction and modeling to complex engineering activities with an understanding of the limitations. आपको tools use करना आना चाहिए, उनकी अच्छी बातें, उनकी बुरी बातें पता होनी चाहिए, उनके limitations पता होनी चाहिए, and you should be able to apply them in your engineering endeavors. Okay. The next is engineer and society to apply reasoning informed by the contextual knowledge to assess societal, health, safety, legal and cultural issues. आप जो भी करेंगे आप इन सब चीज़ों का ध्यान रखेंगे and the consequent responsibilities relevant to the professional engineering practice. Next is environment and sustainability. So it is very important that the engineer understands the importance of sustainability and the impact of its work on environment. So obviously, the expectation is to understand the impact of the professional engineering solutions in societal and environmental contexts and demonstrate the knowledge of and need for sustainable development. And finally, the last one is ethics. That is to apply ethical principles and commit to professional ethics and responsibilities and norms of the engineering. So these are the expectations from a graduate engineer who is graduating from India, any of the institutes of India, not just from Rajasthan or Delhi or IIT or NIT. Any engineer that passes out from any of the institutions in India are expected to perform or demonstrate their skills on all these different types of expectations of the world. Okay, so these are different expectations. Now, when you can see, these first three are primarily based on the knowledge you gain through these 4 years of your study. So these three are mainly based on your study. But again, these are not directly on directly based on the knowledge you have gained through the study by giving the exams and so on. But also this requires that you demonstrate practical skills. So such as to identify a problem, formulate a solution for it, or design a product, design a software, or maybe design a process for some problem and so on. So this also involves some practical approaches, but again, they are all related to the knowledge you are gaining during your engineering study. But moving on from after moving forward, then these 3 points, then you start getting problems that are generally applicable to all graduates, all professionals, irrespective of whether they are from engineering profession or not. Okay, but particularly in the context of engineers, these things are more relevant, more important. And finally, all those were basically related to the engineering profession to a certain extent, but also to a technical profession. And these are some expectations that are expected from you as a professional of any domain, from any domain at all. So, first is that you should be able to do your individual and team work. You should be able to perform in a team. Second is communication. You should be able to communicate effectively on engineering activities with engineering community and society at large. Whatever you're doing, you should be able to document that, make presentations on that, and give and receive clear instructions. क्योंकि engineering is a job where you are not like an artist नहीं है आप कि let's say you sang a song and that was okay. You will have to like give and receive a lot of instructions on a daily basis. So that is very important that your communication skills are good. Next is project management and finance. Now, as an engineer, very soon, when you are in the industry, very soon you will be in the roles and positions where you will be managing some projects, possibly on your own or as part of a team. So you should have some like insights into project management and finances as well. And at last, since we are talking about technology here and the technology changes at a very fast pace, let's say in 1970s, nobody would have thought that we'll be able to have a smartphone that will be able to listen to our voice and give us a response. So that is how fast the technology can move. So it is very important that we understand the importance of lifelong learning. So as an engineer, as a graduate engineer, you should be able to learn lifelong. तो जो लोग बोलते हैं कि सर आफ्टर इंजीनियरिंग मैं कुछ नहीं करूँगा, आई एम ऑलरेडी फेड अप ऑफ learning new things. So that is not how you can survive in the technical domain specifically. You should be ready to learn throughout your life. You will get to learn a lot of things, lot of technologies, lot of processes, lot of standards, and many other professional things that you will learn through your life. So that you should be ready for lifelong learning as well. So these are the expectations of a graduate who is graduating in engineering from India. अच्छा इसमें किसी को कोई डाउट है? आई थिंक देयर शुड बी नो डाउट. दीज आर लाइक स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड थिंग्स कि व्हाट आर एक्सपेक्टेड फ्रॉम यू. तो आप लोगों को फुर्सत में ये पढ़ना चाहिए कि व्हाट इज एक्सपेक्टेड फ्रॉम अस, और यू शुड रिमेंबर दीज एट ऑल टाइम. सो बिकॉज दिस इज व्हाट द कंपनीज आर लुकिंग फ्रॉम यू. ठीक है, irrespective of whatever job you want to join, even if you go and do an entrepreneurship and you then you will be looking on to some VC funding. In that case also you will have to demonstrate all of these are expectations from an engineer in general. You should give some time to it, uh, and study them and keep them in your memory in all your decisions at all times. Okay. Next is program educational objectives. Now, in this case, since you are studying computer science and information technology, these are some program specific educational objectives. So these are the objectives that you should have in mind when studying computer science and IT. And these are fixed not by the country, not by NBA, but these are fixed by our university, okay, or our department. So if you are graduating in computer science or IT from our college, then these are the characteristics that you should aim for. These should be your objectives. The first is the graduate will establish himself, herself as effective professional by solving real world problems using explore karna, and analytical skills to engage his analytical skills, his mathematical foundation, his engineering knowledge थ्रू द ऑफर्ड कोर्सेज. तो आपको जो जो कोर्सेज सीखने को मिल रहे हैं उनसे आप एक्सप्लोरेटरी और एनालिटिकल स्किल्स को डेवलप करोगे और उनको डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करोगे एज एन इफेक्टिव प्रोफेशनल. ठीक है. द सेकंड पॉइंट इज ग्रेजुएट विल डेमोन्स्ट्रेट his or ability to implement various software development concepts. आपको अलग अलग सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स को इम्प्लीमेंट करना आना चाहिए एंड अडेप्ट टू रैपिडली चेंजिंग एनवायरनमेंट इन एडवांस्ड एरियाज ऑफ कंप्यूटर साइंस. ठीक है. तो beyond curriculum also you should be able to adapt to the rapidly changing environment. For example, if you learn a language here, what you should be focusing on not the context, not the syntax of that particular language, but rather in general how algorithms are made, how algorithms perform, what are the different mechanism, what are the different types of techniques that can be used to implement algorithms, and so on. So that is what your focus should be. The third one is that the graduate will embrace professional code of ethics, right conduct, and responsible team leadership while deliberately being part of projects which contributes to the society at large without disturbing the ecological balance. It is very important that whatever you do, you should always do that within the purview of the ethics, right conduct, and responsible leadership. And all your projects, all whatever you do, whether you are working for a product company, whether you are working for a service based company, whether you are doing a startup on your own, in all those cases you should always think about the society at large. What will be your the impact of your work on society, and also on the ecological balance, also how this world works, how the what are the different cycles of nature. Whatever your actions are, you should not disturb this ecological balance in any case. So these are expectations from me as a computer science engineer in general. Okay, with that, like this is the wrap up of our today's lecture. So this today's lecture was mainly about having your concepts clear about what are the different expectations there are from you, from the country, what the country expects from you, what the industry expects from you, what the people expect from you, and also what the university or the department expects from you. So that is this first lecture is all about setting the expectations from you uh, once you complete this complete engineering study at the end of your final year. Okay, so this may sound like a lot to grab at for once. It may sound like a lot of things to study or maybe to expect from you once, but give it some time, give some time to read onto it and relate कि आप अभी जिस तरह से पढ़ रहे हैं या what are your expectations from this engineering course, do they align with these expectations or not, because that is very important. If you're not aware of your expectation, you will eventually drift away from your professionalism. Okay, so that is very important. So with that, any questions at this point, or maybe can we move on to the next part of this lecture?